Sure. So it's about a young woman who emancipates from the foster care system in the United States. It starts on her 18th birthday, and she really has nowhere to go.
So she's leaving foster care,
Leaving foster
which
care.
she's been in all her life.
Yes.
And going into a different, the new world.
Right, and she becomes homeless. She lives in a park, and really the only way she has to connect to the world outside her is through the language of flowers, which a woman who tried to adopt her taught her when she was 10 years old. And in the language of flowers, every flower means something specific. So you might know red rose means love, but you probably don't know that rhododendron means beware. So these are the kinds of messages she leaves her whole life, and no one ever responds because they don't know that she's even leaving a message. And so it's about her, both her present when she's 18 and kind of negotiating this new world as an adult, and also about the year she was 10 and tried to be adopted and tried to be a daughter.
Yeah, and of course you can draw on experiences from both perspectives. You have a natural love of that sort of the messages that we can learn from flowers, as it were, and you've also been a foster and still are a foster parent. So
Absolutely.
just tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So I've always wanted to be a foster parent. When I was only 19 years old, I started mentoring a family of girls, and I was very close to them, and my husband, who I was just dating at the time, was very close to them as well. And after 3 or 4 years of mentoring them, I went to return them to their home, and I knew their mother had a drug problem, but I didn't know the extent of it. And I went to return them to their house where their grandma lived with them and their mother, and the grandma had packed up all their things, and she opened the door just this much, and she said, "I'm so sorry, their mom's gone, I can't take them back." And so here I was, 23 at the time, not married, had 4 girls, under the age of 9, and I had no idea what to do with them. And so this is my introduction to the foster care system.
What part did officialdom have in that? I mean, did you...
Right, so that's the problem. I kept them for a few days with my husband. We were completely in love with these children. We wanted to do what was best for them, and we had heard horrible things about the foster care system, as you may have. The last thing we wanted to do was to turn them over. But we had no legal rights to them, and you know, we were commuting to work, we had full-time jobs, I had a roommate. It wasn't practical to keep 4 children, but it's what I wanted to do in my heart. And so after a few days I ended up having to take them to the county offices and watched what they went through in the system, which was really awful.
Do you know where they are now?
I do, actually. It's one of the few happy endings that you hear in foster care. The biological grandmother of the youngest 2 adopted all 4.
Okay.
And the oldest is in college, and we're still in touch.
But as you say, the system itself has plenty of failings. I know you studied the UK system over here as well and seen the same sort of...
Absolutely. I mean, these girls, they were so close. They were separated from each other. One set was placed in a Spanish-speaking home. They were African-American children. They had no idea what was going on. It was just traumatic. And so my husband and I were young, and we weren't married, but we decided very young that this was something we wanted to do with our life. And when the opportunity came, my husband was a principal, and one of his students ran away from home as a freshman, and he had nowhere to go, and he ended up in a receiving home, and we went to court and we took custody of him. He's now a freshman at New York University.
Wow, now we've got so little time. We've hardly talked about the language of flowers, but what did you bring in here? Tell us a bit more.
So these right here are purple iris.
What are they saying?
They mean message. And then the freesia next to them mean lasting friendship, so that's a message of lasting friendship.
And if I say, what do cactus say? Because I'm very keen on cactus.
So cactus actually means ardent love. And there's a scene in my book where the girl at 10 doesn't know that it means ardent love, and so she gives it to her new foster mother, trying to say hate. And she's actually
because it's a bit prickly.
Because yes, absolutely, you would think it means hate, but it actually means ardent love.
And where did that interest stem from for you?
I discovered Kate Greenaway's book when I was only 16, a little illustrated dictionary of flowers, fell madly in love with it and started writing poetry on string by tying flowers together.
And you have flowers on your dress?
I do.
Yeah.
Flowers everywhere on the desk.
How lovely.
Thank you so much for coming in for us.
Congratulations as well with an enormous success. The debut book, The Language of Flowers, Vanessa's book, is out now. For more information about the Camellia Network, which is all to do with flowers, you can follow the link on the Breakfast website.
Nice to have flowers in the studio. We should do it more often.
So you're just going to go home and give your wife more cacti now.
Can't go wrong.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. Now, imagine dreaming for years of becoming an actress, and then the award-winning director, Trevor Nunn, picks you out when you're performing a non-speaking part.
That's exactly what happened to Elizabeth Hopper. Now she's starring in The Tempest alongside Ralph Fiennes.
Well, we're speaking to them both in just a moment, but first here's a quick last look at what's happening where you are.
Good morning. New footage of rioting in the northwest shown on a Crime Watch special last night has prompted a huge response from the public. CCTV images captured in central Manchester were broadcast of people smashing their way into a shop and of a gang trying to break into a jeweller's on Thomas Street. Greater Manchester Police say they've had hundreds of calls and say to date 184 people have been charged in connection with the riots. Hundreds of jobs have been safeguarded at Merseyside fashion chain Ethel Austin. The company, which was formed in a council house in Anfield, is now in the hands of a new owner. The business will keep 62 shops and more than 400 staff. A small rural railway line in Cumbria has seen a surge in the number of passengers because more people are holidaying in the UK. Figures from the Association of Train Operating Companies reveal a 20% rise in the number of people using the line between Oxenholme and Windermere. 4 rare cheetahs have been born at Chester Zoo. The cubs are the only ones of their breed to be born in captivity in the last year. Some travel news for you now. And on the M6 in Cheshire, there are long delays. That's after an accident around the Lim interchange and junction 19 at Knutsford. Today's weather, dry and fine to start with, cloud developing later, rain across Cumbria this afternoon. Tonight rather cloudy with rain reaching most areas, dry with clear spells across the north by dawn. That's it, we're back at 1:30 with our lunch bulletin. Have a good morning.